welcome to the channel. I hope you're all well. Today we're going to tie a nymph, and it is a grey squirrel-tail nymph with a 233 rib. It's a fairly simple tying, so let's get straight into it. I have a size 14 nymph hook in the vise with a 3.3 gold bead, and I'll be tying with black 6/0 thread. Right, let's just mount the bead. Now this material is just a little bit longer than most hair materials, and it's a nymph that can be used whenever you are using another natural hair nymph. Might be hare's ear or rabbit, and it can be equally as effective. Trim off the excess and wind down. Right, now this is my grey squirrel tail, and I'm going to take off some fibres to use for the tail of the nymph. Won't need too many. And I'm going to tie those in. And trim up the excess. And bind it down. And back down to the rear of the fly. Right, now, as I said, the rib was going to be 233, and I'm going to use scudback 233. Now, I've said on many occasions about using scudback, and the reason being that you end up with something like this, which is about 2 feet long, over 60 centimeters. And obviously you're going to get an awful lot of flies out of that one strand, and there's probably about 8 strands in the scudback. So I'll just trim a piece off and tie that in. And bind it down. And back down to the rear of the fly. Just put that in the spring. Right, now for the squirrel hair dubbing. It's quite a long dubbing, and as I said, I make all my own natural hair dubbings, which is easy enough to do. So I'm just going to dub on the hair. And wind it on to the nymph, trying to keep it tight. After each turn. Just build it up a little bit as we come to the front of the fly. Now I'm going to wind on the rib, try and get the green showing through, because this is going to be an added attraction to the nymph. And tie off the rib. And trim it up. Now at this stage I am just going to brush it out a little. Before I add on the collar of exactly the same material. We'll make this a little bit thicker, because we are going to brush this out and we will lose some fibres. See how we get on here. Keep it tight. before I tie off the fly, I'm just going to add some glue to the thread. And tie off the nymph. And trim up the thread. Right, I'm now going to brush out the collar. And as you can see, there are an awful lot of very long fibres in this nymph, which is going to create so much movement. Just trim up some of the longer ones. And of course the green of the 233 is going to be the added attraction. And there you have the nymph finished. Very simple tying, but a very effective nymph on any of those occasions that you might use a natural hair nymph. Thanks very much for viewing. I hope you enjoyed the tying. Don't hesitate to pass a comment, share it if you wish, and if you're not a subscriber, hit that bell. And I will see you in the very next video. Bye.